Hey guys, just making a video real quick of the Tangram. I've had a few people reach out and say they were interested in learning how to do them. So I've made several of these now, and I've come up with a few ways that have made it a little bit easier, especially if you're doing all glitter, you're not doing printable vinyl or anything like that in between. So I've got a blank tumbler here. This is the 20-ounce straight hog. So when you go to purchase your cut file for the design, which I get mine from Etsy, you want to make sure you're getting either the straight or the tapered one, because they measure different from top to bottom depending on what cup you're using. So I went ahead, I purchased a file from Etsy. I've cut it out here. And I am not using any good sticky vinyl for this because you're going to be pulling each piece off, and I find it easier just to use this cheaper wall vinyl, not the 651, maybe 631. This I think actually is wall vinyl, which it might be 631, I'm not sure. It's Hobby Lobby brand that I've had sitting around for a long time. So instead of wasting my good vinyl, I just use this. So we will start off here, and I'll show you. I'm going to kind of point the camera down so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I've got my file cut, and then I'm going to weed the outside of this. And then as you do it, just make sure you're not pulling up any of the little squares or whatever they are. You just want to go around the outside, leave it all together whole. Okay. So then here we have only the design that's going onto the cup. So I've got that, and this doesn't matter. It was rolled, and so it bubbled when it cut, but it's going to be fine when I lay it down. It's not a big deal. It doesn't need to be perfect. Everything's going to be manipulated and moved around anyways. So I already have a piece of my carrier sheet that I'm going to use. And then I also find it easier that if you take your carrier sheet and you like put it on your shirt, do whatever, make it less sticky, it releases so much easier from your vinyl. So I'm gonna lay this down, put this right on top. Of course, there's a piece of hair from my shirt on here. Gross. Okay, lay this down. Make sure it's all good and pressed on evenly. Use your scraper to make sure it's stuck on nice and good. Okay. And then what I do is, it can be a little tricky when you're doing a full wrap on a cup because it doesn't always come out perfectly. So what I've found is the best solution for this is just pull a little bit off at a time. So this is going to be my top, this is going to be my bottom. So you're going to want to lay your cup down, and I try to put this on as straight as possible to the very top. Just do just a little bit, just enough to get it started and lined up. And then lay it down and run this part down. And then and like I said, if it's not completely flat, it's fine because all of these pieces are going to be pulled up. But you do want to make sure your design is as straight as you can. So, I don't know which way would be easier to show you. So, as you're putting this down, keep making sure that you're straight up top, and then reach underneath and pull the backing off of the vinyl, just a little at a time. Press, keep rolling it, pull a little bit more, roll it some more, And then, you know, like I said, just make sure it doesn't have to be completely straight, but make sure you're staying lined up. A little bit more. Keep pressing it as you're going. And then once you get to the very end, don't lay this part down yet because you're gonna have some of your carrier sheet right here still. So make sure this is good and sealed down. Pull this back and see how much easier this is to pull off. I'm barely even pulling that because I've used it before and I put it on my shirt to get some of the sticky off. And then just lay it down like that. And it's almost a perfect seal on there. Okay, so then slowly just peel all of your carrier sheet off. Make sure none of the design pieces come up with it. So that turned out good. And then I just go back through and just kind of press it down. Okay, so once you get here, obviously you've probably already picked out your colors. You're going to want to, if you have a certain design in mind, you want to have that wrote down. This is the one I've been doing with the rose gold, the pink, gold, and white. So mine's a pattern all the way around. It's the same pattern all the way. So I write it down, white, gold, rose, pink, rose, white, rose, pink. So I know when I'm going and pulling all these pieces off, what color each one's gonna be. So, and I like to do it color by color. So I'll go through and I do the darkest color first. So my darkest color is gonna be my, I'll probably do my gold first. So I'll go through and do the gold because it's kind of dark. If not, the rose gold mix that I have. And this is actually just something I mixed together. It's a combination of our rose gold. I've got a little more pink champagne mixed in it. I've got some more hanky panky in it. And I think I put some of the Cristal 0.8 and then a little bit of sand 1 millimeter, and kind of made my own mix. So we'll go ahead and start with the gold. So we know that the first shape is going to be, because I have it wrote down right here, it's going to be white and then gold and then white then gold. So I'm going to start and figure out which way I want my golds are going to be starting right here. So I'm going to go through and pick out all my golds on this line. And this stuff is pretty, like I said, it's really easy to pull this up. It didn't cut very good because it kept moving on my machine. It had bubbles in it, so there's a few spots that weren't cut right. So we're doing white, gold, white, gold, white, gold, white, gold, white, and the bottom will be gold. And then there's no gold here. So then we'll move to the next one. It's going to be gold. That one's going to be gold. That's white. This one's going to be gold, white, this one's gold, white, and another gold down here at the bottom. Okay, so I'm just gonna do those right now, otherwise we could be here all night long doing this. So I typically don't use Mod Podge, but when I do my buffalo plaids and any kind of design like this, I do use the Mod Podge. So, whatever kind of Mod Podge you prefer to use. I've got that. I use foam brushes, or you can use silicone brushes, it doesn't matter. These just kind of fit pretty good on all these little angles. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit in the cap here. Actually, I'm gonna move this. I don't want to get anything on this. And then also I have, I've already pre-cut all my stripes also. Since I have this one needs the stripes done on it. So, okay. So we're gonna take this, take your Mod Podge, just kind of color in each one of your little, I keep calling them squares, rectangles, whatever they are. And I do a decent amount on here because then you have to go through and do a second layer. And I typically don't ever have to do a second layer unless it's on a really light color, like that Hanky Panky. I have to go in and do a second coat of glitter on that one because you can see a lot of the white in the background. I have seen people that tint their Mod Podge with, so say this one was pink, they'd put a little bit of acrylic pink paint mixed in with their Mod Podge and go over it, and that way instead of like spray painting the whole cup pink, you can just do whatever squares you want. So take my glitter, pour it on. Oops, I guess you can't see that. I always keep a paper underneath me to catch everything. Let's get back this way more. And then give it a good smack. Knock all that loose glitter off. Let's see, there we go. And it's gonna look like that. So then we'll go through, we'll do the next one. These are the perfect cups to do if you just wanna hang out at night, pop on some Netflix, catch up on some of your shows on the DVR, because they are definitely time consuming. They do take a lot of time and patience. So I always stream TV when I'm doing this at night, and it goes by so much faster. Make sure you're getting plenty of glitter on that. Not leaving any excess marks. Good smack. Okay. Then I kind of tap it a few times too, just to make sure all the loose stuff is off. Open my container, and this is platinum that I'm using. I just reuse jars all the time. So, put that back in there. Now I'm going to move on to the next color. So I think I'm gonna go with the rose gold. So I'm going to, I know these are white and gold. So the rose gold, I'm doing rose gold, pink, rose gold, white. So you just really wanna make sure you don't mess up your pattern, which I have done before. And then you have to go, good thing about Mod Podge is you can just kind of pick it right off. So I try not to stick your hand on here where it's still wet. It doesn't take very long to dry. So rose, pink, rose, white, rose. And like I said again, I always try to do the darker colors first. That way you're not dumping gold or rose gold on top of white because it's really hard to get it off of the white glitter. So just be careful, like I said, not sticking your arm in there. But like I said, I typically do all of one color and then I'll go back. And by the time I go back, this is all dried. So you don't have to be as cautious with it. And everything is fixable. So if you do accidentally scrape it and mess up a color, you can always go back in and fix it and touch it up. Okay, so then I've got my brush. We're gonna go in and start doing this one, and then just be careful when you're going up to the next color so you're not overlapping. And it does not matter if your lines are straight. Every little rectangle is going to have a piece of the vinyl stripe going around it. So you're not gonna see those little imperfections if your lines are not perfect. They're gonna get covered up. Okay. So I've got my rose gold mix I made. Do one color at a time. Here, pull this one out. I hope you guys can see this okay. 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 All right, so then I'm gonna gently set that down. Put my rose gold back in here. And always put the caps back on things because, trust me, I have knocked so much stuff over and spilt and made such messes by not putting caps on things. Okay. So then we're gonna go to our pink. We're gonna do the light pink. So that goes in between here. And that's gonna be white. This one's gonna be pink. And the longer you leave, so say I wanted to stop and go do something or whatever, go make dinner, whatever, you know, help my kids, whatever. The longer you leave this on here, the harder. So see how these lines are coming out pretty straight right now? Once this dries all the way and you go to peel some of this up, sometimes you're gonna get some jagged edges here because it's gonna wanna rip where the Mod Podge is and the glitter. And so the longer the vinyl stays on that's already got glitter and Mod Podge on it, the slightly more difficult it's going to be to get these little pieces up. So I would recommend just doing it all in one sitting if you can. If not, I take my knife. If I see something coming up, I'll kind of slice it so it doesn't pull this whole neck square up with it. And then you can just push it back down. And like I said, you can always go back in and fill in anything that may have lifted or ripped, or, you know, like this right here. I can see right there it's not done all the way. So I'll just take my brush and dab it right there and go back over and fill it in. I try to fill in all my colors as I'm doing them, like one at a time. Like I said, I would go through and I would do the whole cup in this, and then I would go back through it and just make sure there's nothing showing anywhere that needs another layer put on it before I move on to the next color. But it's okay if you do it at the end. I would just recommend doing your white, if you're doing like a white or a really light color, at the very end. Okay, so this is gonna be, these are gonna be white. So this one right here is going to be light pink also. You just gotta kind of find where it's at, gently pull it up. And like I said, also, when you use this cheaper vinyl, I do not use the 651 because it is very hard to get these lifted. This is just, so, see, like right there, I scratched that. So I'll just go back in and fill it up. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. I don't really have to use any force in getting these pulled up. They just lift right up really easily with this cheaper vinyl. I don't even know what it is. I think it's actually considered wall vinyl, so it's safe on your walls. But I will go ahead and fill that in real quick. I'm just gonna do it over my trash can real fast. Okay, so now we're gonna do the light pink. I'm gonna do Hanky Panky. So you just kind of gotta go in and, you know, it's just like painting. You just have to, the outside line, just try not to overlap the other color. I like the straightness of these foam brushes because you just have to just line it up nice and easily. It's really not that hard. Just, if you put too much Mod Podge on your brush, you might get it on the other color. But it's really not that hard. It just takes patience and a lot of time. So do not underestimate your work. If you decide to make these and sell them, they take a really long time. So keep that in mind when you're pricing these out. And go in with my pink. And like I said, I think I always do 2 coats on my pink. As you can see the white. I don't know if you can, it doesn't look too bad here, but just to make sure it's all covered. And like I said, if these lines are not perfect, it's fine. There's going to be stripes that are going to cover it. You're not even going to notice. Just don't like go way off into the center of another color, but it's not going to be noticeable. Okay. Pink. Pink again. Pink. Yeah, I don't want to touch it yet, but there's a spot, you probably can't even see it, right over here. There's some white showing. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back in. And then I am doing Snow White 0.4 is my white that I'm using. And like that kind of pulls a little bit, just kind of dab it back down. Oops, see, I scratched that one. So it happens. You just go back in and fill them in later on. And I just touched that. Okay, so I have all those pulled off. Shake my paper off a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna go in and we're gonna fill in all these in white. I'll just do a few. I don't want you guys to be stuck here all night long with me. So just go in, just like you've been doing before. Fill in your squares, or whatever they are. They're not squares, rectangles. Shape, whatever. Keeping it all straight as possible if you can. It's hard, but once you do a few, you'd be surprised at how easy it becomes. Like I said, if you don't have patience and you can't sit here for long periods of time, you know, they are hard to do. They do get stressful. I know, like during the winter time when I'm doing the buffalo plaids, if I get an order for a bunch, you know, you get so overwhelmed because, you know, obviously you want everyone to get their stuff in a timely manner, and they take a lot of time, and people don't realize just how long it takes to make some of these. So I'm doing my white. Again, Snow White. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right here on this part. Move on to the next step. So once you have everything glittered, you're gonna go back in, fix whatever needs fixed. You know, go back through, and anything you see on here that, like, I scratched a few, I don't even know where they're at now. Go back in and fix those, touch them up, let it dry completely, and then before you go to epoxy, I take like a hard bristled brush, and I will brush the entire cup. Gently, don't do it hard, to knock whatever loose glitter is left on it. Give it a couple bangs, brush it, whatever. You're gonna have a mess everywhere. Do it over a trash can or a piece of paper. And then epoxy it. I've got a couple going over there right now that are being epoxied. And then once that's done, it's dried, sand it down really good. And I do a pretty thick coat on this because I do want it as smooth as possible for when I put my stripes on it. I don't want bumps and all that kind of stuff everywhere. So it's dried. I've sanded it. I just take, I don't even know what this is. It's, I don't know, really rough sandpaper. I don't know. Rough it up, wash it. I wipe them all down with alcohol every time I do anything different to them. And then I have cut all of my stripes. So these are long pieces. Obviously I need them for the full length of the cup. And it's honestly your personal preference. I don't even know. I mean, these are pretty, they're pretty thin. I don't even know the size of them. I just kind of cut a few. If I think they're the right size, then I go with it. So I'm going to show you how I do that real quick. Let me put the cap on this real quick before I knock something over. Okay. So after I've made a gazillion of these, it feels like, I have realized you want to go in, oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. You want to go in and do all of your diagonal cuts first. So this is just a scrap piece. I'm just using whatever fits. So lay it over your line, line it up so it goes right in between your two colors, just like that. The ones on the top and the ones on the bottom, I leave them. I just fold them over, because anyone who's worked with thin strips of vinyl or anything at the top and the bottom of your cups know that this will lift up a little bit. Even sometimes I'll do some quick coat over it, it still lifts. So I just fold them all into the cup. After I do my first layer of epoxy over top of this and it dries, I'll go through with my knife and I'll trim them all off. Then that way it keeps them from lifting. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna do one line at a time all the way down. I take my knife, cut the line, pull it off. So here I will use a bigger little piece like this. It's not the full length one, but it's just some other little pieces that I have. Lay it on there. Hope you can see this. Take my knife, cut, take it down, line it back up wherever you think your line should be, cut it. Next, line it up, press it down, cut it. And again, your seams don't have to be perfect because they're going to get covered up. So just keep on going all the way down. Cut. Next one. Put it on. Line it up. Cut. And again, on these, I don't know if you can see this, I always, like I said, I always go down around the bottom and cut it way down here, because as you're doing this and your hands are rubbing and you're moving the cup around and you're touching it, and all this is gonna lift. So just fold it over down to the bottom of the cup until you're done. Next piece, pull another stripe up, and then I try to overlap if I can. Let me do it this way. So that's gonna go that way. I try to overlap it on top of that right there. Cut it. This is at the top of the cup. I'm gonna fold it under so it doesn't lift on me. Move down to the next one. Put a diagonal. Cut it. Go again. Diagonal. Cut. Strap. Stuck on my fingers. Okay. And we're going to do the next line. I'll lift up another. I can get it. Another stripe. Finish this one off right here. Just have to get this started real quick. Before I pick it back up. Okay. That one's a little crooked, I think. I'm gonna fix that one. Doesn't have enough of an angle on it. So I wanna shift it down a little bit better. Okay, that looks better to me. So I'm just gonna cut this little piece off right here. Okay, another stripe. Cut. Another stripe. Down there. Just gonna cut it way back here, fold it over so it doesn't lift up. So I do all the way around the cup like this. I don't do any of my vertical stripes until I'm completely finished doing this. And then I will go through with my vertical stripe and I'll take it, line it up wherever you think it's straight, and then kind of go through. I think I want to move it over a little bit more. Looks better. And then, like I said, it's just going to, you're not going to see any of this that might be a little jaggedy, or go through and push it all the way down, and it's covering all the vinyl seams. So none of your seams are going to lift up when, see, that's not even, but that will get cut. All of your seams, that's what I've heard a lot of people complain, that the stripes pop up when you go to epoxy. Everything is covered, so nothing is going to lift because you have this one vertical stripe going all the way down. If that makes sense, I hope it makes sense. Because it's covered and they're all being held down, so you won't have anything lifting and pulling. And then, like I said, I keep all of my ends tucked in. And then these I will trim, and I'll quick coat them real quick before I do a layer of epoxy. And I do like to do fast set on the first layer. That way it speeds it up, dries it much quicker, and you don't have to worry about all that stuff lifting. So that is that. I hope this has helped. You know, like I said, I'll just go through, I'll finish all of these diagonal stripes and then do my vertical. I will fast set, and then after I do the fast set, I'll go through and I'll cut all of these off, and then I will if a name or something's gonna get added to it, I'll do that. And then I will epoxy it again and it's finished. So, hope you guys enjoy. I can't wait to see what you guys make. Can't see what color combos you come up with. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments and I will be happy to help.